my beautiful friends. Welcome to Breaking the Silence. I'm Raynea.
And I'm Kelli.
So, how have you been, Kelli?
It's been a minute, huh?
It has. It feels like it's been a while since we've recorded.
There's a lot going on. We've been really busy. I think since last time we recorded, my stepdaughter came home from college. We've had some grad parties, couple retirement parties. The whole month of June is parties. We've been really busy.
Fun. Party.
How about you?
Yeah, just projects and getting into the full swing of summer. So it's been good.
Yeah.
Today, we're talking about something that creates so much confusion and heartbreak in relationships. And that is why avoidants go cold after being so loving. And honestly, this one, it's one of the deepest wounds. This is one of the deepest wounds for someone with anxious attachment because it feels like emotional whiplash, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
1 minute, they're texting consistently, opening up, future talking, wanting closeness, wanting connection, and then suddenly coldness, distance, confusion, pulling away, one word texts, feeling like you're bothering them. And you're left sitting there thinking, what happened? How did they change overnight? And was any of this real?
Yeah. And that's the part that messes with people's heads because it just feels so drastic. Like you were obsessed with me 2 weeks ago. You were calling me every night. You said I was your piece. And now suddenly they act emotionally unavailable or detached. It feels like someone flipped the switch. And I think it makes you feel like you're going crazy because I think you try to be like, no, I'm sure everything's fine. And you're like, no, you can totally tell that, that all the energy is different and everything.
Absolutely. And so with that, and with all that confusion, today we really want to unpack what's actually happening underneath the shift. Because when you understand attachment and the nervous system, it starts to make a whole lot more sense then. Not to excuse harmful behavior and not to tell you to tolerate inconsistency, but to help you stop personalizing everything. Because most of the time, the relationship did not suddenly become terrible overnight. The nervous system became overwhelmed by vulnerability, intimacy, and emotional dependence. And distance became the safer option.
Yeah, that's such an important distinction because anxious attachment often interprets withdrawal as I'm not lovable. I did something wrong. They never cared. But avoidant attachment is usually much more connected to fear of engulfment, pressure, vulnerability, losing autonomy, and even if they genuinely care about you.
Yes. And I think one thing people need to understand is that avoidance often feels safest during the beginning stages of the relationship. So, because early on, there's chemistry, novelty, space, fantasy, and there's still emotional distance. But the deeper the relationship gets, the more the nervous system starts detecting danger. And not because love is dangerous, but because closeness has historically felt unsafe to them.
Mm-hmm. And this is where deactivation starts happening. And I'm just sorry, I'm just thinking to myself, I wish I would have known this so many years in relationships ago. It would have saved me and the other person probably so much heartache.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Same for me too. I mean, I think that's where I became so like fascinated with learning all about it and just love this because for years of my life and so like you said, so many relationships
Mm-hmm.
that if only I would have known this back then, but thankfully we know it now,
Right.
which changes everything going forward, right?
Right.
And that's what matters. Like the past, we can't change the past, but going forward, now we know, and now we can change the future. So, anyways, let's explain what deactivation actually is.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think a lot of people hear the word and they hear it online and different things, but they don't really fully understand it.
Mm-hmm.
And deactivation is basically the nervous system trying to create emotional distance
Mm-hmm.
in order to feel safe again. And it can show up in a lot of different ways. Suddenly you're too busy, taking longer to text back, feeling emotionally numb,
Mm-hmm.
hyper focusing on flaws. We've talked about that in past episodes too. I mean, we've talked about all these, but picking fights, needing space, feeling trapped, feeling irritated by normal relationship needs,
Mm-hmm.
or emotionally rewriting the relationship entirely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That got me all choked up, apparently.
That was a lot to take in, wasn't it?
That rewriting part is wild, honestly, because someone can go from you're the best thing that's ever happened to me to suddenly we probably aren't compatible. I don't think this is right. I've lost feelings. And it leaves the other person completely just blindsided.
Yes, it absolutely does.
And I was just going to say, and I guess I'm just speaking about myself, and I don't think this is always the situation, but and I think if you already have like a low self-esteem,
Hmm.
this stuff just compounds that. I mean, you're just like, I mean, I knew it was me, I mean, on and on and on. But yeah, I just think it's just, yeah, it just intensifies all that.
I would absolutely agree with that because I think if you have a healthy self esteem
Mm.
and a healthy love for yourself, most likely you're not going to tolerate this stuff very long, right? Like you're going to see it and you're going to be like, this is, I mean, you're going to try and communicate with them if you're in a healthy place, but
Right.
you're going to quickly see this is a them
Mm-hmm.
issue. This is a them problem that they have, the pattern or whatever. And
Yeah.
this says nothing about me. When we're in a healthy space, we can say,
Mm-hmm.
this is nothing about who I am. So I think you're absolutely right. And so then it does really become like that emotional whiplash and that feeling blindsided and like, what in the world just happened?
Yeah.
And
And all the red flags.
yes, and that's where we want to, if we aren't emotionally secure in all those things, we want to try and chase it and fix it and all those things because we think it means something about us then, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah. You totally take it personally. It's yeah.
But
I was having a conversation with somebody regarding like red flags because I know I ignored them completely. Um, and the person was like, well, when you see those, let me know. And I was like, I will. I'll be honest with you. But I was like, but you won't see them. You won't see them the way we see them, because you're like, oh, you don't know them like I know them and and all that stuff. And it's just
because you
worth
put your blinders on and you want to believe sometimes, I
right.
think, right?
And then when you're outside of that crazy realm is when you're like you come to your senses almost.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I think the blinders can be fully removed then, when you've done your work. Yeah.
Right.
So, yeah. So, when they've deactivated, it does blindside us because what often changes first is not the relationship. It's their state of their nervous system state, And when someone becomes overwhelmed internally, the brain starts searching for reasons to justify the discomfort. And this really makes me think of like how we've talked so much about the nervous system. Its job is to protect, right?
Right.
So this is just another example that's then trying to justify the discomfort. And so instead of thinking, I'm scared of intimacy, which is the real thing that is going on inside, it's the fear of intimacy. The brain creates, this relationship isn't right. They need too much. We're too different. The spark is gone. They might say, I don't even love them.
Right.
We aren't any good together. We're too different, whatever, Because if they can convince themselves the relationship is the problem, then distance feels safer and more logical. Like, of course you're thinking, well, if we're just not compatible, or I don't love them, then it makes sense to put distance there. And that all seems very, like I said, way more logical to do, right? But the thing is, and I want you to hear this, the relationship didn't change. Their nervous system needed it to look different, so leaving felt safer.
Yes. Oh, and justified, right?
Yes, absolutely. Like you're not going to tell somebody, does it make any sense to tell other people, oh my gosh, we were amazing together. We had so much fun. We laughed and they just listened to me and they were so kind to me and they were so good to me. And we just had so much fun together. But I broke up with them.
The spark's gone.
Yeah, like it makes no sense. So then that makes no sense of why we would leave. But if we can say all these things like, oh, this relationship just isn't right. We're just not compatible. Yeah, the spark's gone. We're too different. Like then we can somehow justify and it seems logical why you did it,
Yeah.
But if really, in reality, if you look at what the relationship really was, it doesn't make any sense, So I just want to encourage our listeners, the relationship didn't change. They had to create a story to make it make sense why they were leaving, But ultimately it came back down to they were scared of intimacy.
Yeah.
So.
And I think that's going to hit our listeners really hard because I'm sure, well, myself included, I've lived that experience. And with that, it's just like, again, like these epiphanies, of this stuff is, and I'm sure we're going to talk about this and have talked about that push pull. So when your nervous system is like that and you break up, I think that's always to make people break up and get back together and break up and get back together, because when your blinders are on and then when you break up, you're like, oh, and you're like, wait, why did I break up with them? This was a great relationship. And then you get back and you just feel those same pressures again. And then so eventually maybe you stay together and it's kind of toxic, or you break up and that's your next relationship as well. And it's just like this vicious cycle.
I think that that really is, I think that I hope that people hear that the relationship really didn't change and that it really is just a matter of their nervous system. And hopefully that gives some comfort of like, I'm not crazy, you know?
Mm-hmm.
They really did. We did have something good together, or, you know? So, anyways, I think one of the hardest parts for the anxious attachers is that they often start trying harder when this happens.
Mm-hmm.
They do the more explaining,
Mm-hmm.
more reassuring, more chasing, more overthinking, more fixing,
Mm-hmm.
because the abandonment wound has now gotten activated in them.
Yeah.
And so now your nervous system starts screaming, do something before they leave.
Right. Right. And unfortunately, that usually creates more pressure for the avoidance nervous system. So both people end up triggering each other.
Exactly. So the anxious person moves towards the connection, and the avoidant person is moving towards distance. And suddenly, both people are operating from survival instead of safety.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I just want to say something important here. Just because somebody has avoidant attachment does not mean that they are manipulative
Mm-hmm.
or evil.
Right.
But attachment wounds that go unhealed absolutely can hurt people.
Mm-hmm.
And accountability still matters.
Absolutely. Because understanding someone's wounds should never mean abandoning yourself.
Exactly. And I think, unfortunately, until we do the work to heal,
Mm-hmm.
that's a lot of times what happens, especially if you're an anxious attacher or you fearful avoidant that leans anxious
Mm-hmm.
in the relationship or whatever, then you can very much self-abandon, trying to just save the relationship, you know, just trying to hang on.
Right.
So um, you can have compassion for someone.
Mm-hmm.
I am a huge believer in I have so much compassion for people that are hurting.
Mm-hmm.
I get it. And you can still recognize at the same time that the inconsistency is hurting you.
Right.
You can understand attachment and still require emotional safety.
Mm-hmm.
You are not asking too much from somebody.
Right. Yeah.
You can love someone and still realize the relationship is activating constant anxiety inside your body.
Mm-hmm. I think some people stay stuck because they keep waiting for the loving version of the person to come back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so too. I think that in the beginning, it's so good and so beautiful and so fun, and because like we talked about, it's lower stakes then,
Mm.
you know, so they show up more fully.
Yeah.
And so yeah, you can sort of want to hold on for like just to have those moments again. But
Mhm.
that is unfortunately that roller coaster ride of like, well, this is something you were talking about earlier, like where um, you know, you pull away or whatever,
Mhm.
and then you have space and you feel relief in those moments, like, oh, I made the right decision. Like, oh, I feel so much relief now.
Mhm.
But that only lasts so long. And
Right.
then you realize, like, wait a minute, I sort of miss them, you know?
Mhm.
And so then you come back and then you do it again. And then it just keeps going. And I think that the avoidant, because they have finally, or not finally, like their nervous system is calm. So they want to come back, come close
Mhm.
again. And the anxious that just wants to go back to how fun it was in the beginning, you know, like, and it does feel, because you've had space in between there, it can feel new and fun and all that for a little while.
Yeah.
but it's still going to get back to the same place again eventually
Right.
until you both choose to heal. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like
Yes.
it's yeah, like you are gonna like have all those feelings like it was in the beginning when you come back, especially if you've had a large amount of space. But eventually, if you're not doing the work,
Mm-hmm.
they're gonna get triggered again
Right.
and pull away again.
Mm-hmm.
So
And you're gonna get triggered and
yes, and yes, so you have to do the work.
mm-hmm.
And so I understand that in the beginning it did feel so beautiful. And honestly, sometimes it was real.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to tell you that it wasn't real for them. I think a lot of times it's very real for them what they felt.
But it
And that
makes you questioning, was it really? You'll just like drive yourself crazy, or like to switch so fast, you feel like there's no way. There wasn't, they were just waiting for something better to come along or whatever. You know what I mean? You just, it's hard. You want to convince yourself, like, I had to have meant something. This relationship had to have meant something to them. But then you're like, as quick as they shifted gears, maybe not.
for sure, I think there absolutely is that part of it that you question, like, was any of it real?
Mm-hmm.
Like, were those moments real? Because the person that isn't avoidant can't imagine just shutting down like that, you know?
Right.
But those, I'm not going to say for everybody it was real. Absolutely, there are going to be avoidants that
Mm-hmm.
maybe it was just a fun little fling or whatever. But I
Right.
absolutely believe that there are relationships that it was real and what they felt was real.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously what you felt was real. And I
Yeah.
think that is what makes it so painful because within you, like, I know that was real. I know they loved me,
Yeah.
you know? And
Mm-hmm.
people with avoidant attachment, they're not always faking their feelings. A lot of times it's that they genuinely do feel connected in those moments. So it is real, but sustaining intimacy long term activates that unresolved fear within them.
Mm-hmm.
And if they don't recognize their own patterns, they often repeat the cycle over and over and over again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Again, the push pull,
Mm-hmm.
the hot cold, the closeness and distance. And it's funny just sitting here thinking because I'm like, I feel like I've always been the one who has been, um, like I've been, the other person has been the avoidant, but I'm sitting here like thinking back, especially in my high school years, as teen years and things like that. I think as all of us, we're just coming into our own and hormones and all that stuff. And just, and I think I've been the avoidant many a times too, which is kind of like, So I think I myself have been that partner to people.
Oh, I know I have too.
Mm-hmm.
So, um, and I think that is where it's important to make that clear that that doesn't make the person manipulative or
Mm-hmm.
evil. Again,
Yep.
it's just the wounds. Like, I know you and I both, neither one are
Mm-hmm.
evil and manipulative and just like want to hurt people, you know?
Yeah.
And avoidance very much have a bad rap of like, they shouldn't love anybody. They should just stay alone. And
Yeah.
um, they're just these evil, awful people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And yes, how they hurt you, it sucks. I'm not going to lie. I've been there. I've been on both sides.
Yeah.
That I've been hurt by somebody that's avoidant. And I've also been the person that has also been avoidant. Maybe a relationship that could have probably maybe been a healthy relationship. And I'm like, before I healed, like,
Right.
no, thank you. I don't know what to do with that.
Yeah. Just not healthy enough myself. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, and I don't think that that means that an avoidant doesn't deserve love or that they want love. Of course they do. They
Mm-hmm.
want to be loved too. They want connection. They want all those things. They just get so scared
Yep.
when it gets close, when it's real,
Right.
because they don't know what to do with that. So,
But just waiting for the other shoe to drop too,
oh,
Yep.
absolutely. Do you know how
I've
many
been
times in my life I've said, like, you're just sitting around waiting for the other shoe to drop?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I get it. Like, I think you and I both have been there in both places as a fearful avoidant that we flipped, both each way. So,
Right.
anyways, and I think that when um, all that happens of the hot and cold, the push pull, the closeness and the distance happens, the person on the receiving end
Mm-hmm.
starts feeling emotionally addicted to the highs and lows
No, yeah.
because your nervous system starts to chase the relief?
Mm-hmm.
And so sometimes you're not even chasing love anymore.
Right.
Sometimes you're just chasing reconnection. Like you're just you just want connection with someone
Right.
or the reassurance that that relationship gave you. Like, oh, well, if I can get them back or get them to stay, then that
Right.
reassures you.
Mm-hmm.
And then also maybe even the safety piece of it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. That's a really powerful distinction. I think all this is very eye-opening.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I want our listeners to hear this.
Mm-hmm.
Someone pulling away does not define your worth.
Mm-hmm.
Their inability to sustain intimacy
Mm-hmm.
is not proof that you were too much.
Yeah.
Your needs for consistency, communication, affection, or reassurance are not wrong.
Right.
And honestly, secure love does not usually feel like emotional confusion every single day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think that's very powerful for our listeners. And I hope that they do hear that loud and clear.
Absolutely. Love is not supposed to constantly feel like anxiety
Mm-hmm.
mixed with breadcrumbs.
Mm.
And if you grew up having to earn love, chase connection, or stay hypervigilant emotionally,
Mm-hmm.
this dynamic can feel painfully familiar.
Mm-hmm.
But familiar does not always mean healthy.
Mm-hmm. And healing changes what you tolerate.
Mm, it absolutely does. It changes everything when it comes to what you'll tolerate.
Right.
So, healing teaches you to stop abandoning yourself
Mm-hmm.
to keep someone else comfortable.
Mm.
It teaches you to notice patterns instead of potential.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, sometimes the biggest healing moment is when you stop asking, how do I make them stay?
Mm-hmm.
And start asking, why does inconsistency feel so familiar to me?
Mm. Wow. Yeah, that's the work right there for sure.
It definitely is. And if you're listening today and someone went cold on you after being loving, I just want you to know this.
Mm-hmm.
You are not crazy for feeling confused. You are not weak for grieving it. And you're not too emotional. That kind of sudden emotional withdrawal creates real abandonment wounds
Mm.
inside your nervous system,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
especially when there was genuine connection beforehand. But their withdrawal is not a reflection of your value.
Mm-hmm. And you deserve relationships where love feels steady, safe, and Emotionally honest.
Absolutely. Not perfect,
Mm-hmm.
but safe.
Mm. Yeah.
Consistent, communicative, and emotionally available. Because perfection is not proof of love.
Mm-hmm.
Consistency is.
Mm-hmm. And I think people mistake that sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
If somebody loves you, even though they're not doing it perfect and they're messing up, they will be consistent.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you guys so much for being here with us today. If this episode resonated with you, share it with someone who needs it.
Mm-hmm.
And as always, we send you off with so much love.